The easiest way to remember the melodic minor scale formula is it's a major scale with a flat third. Remember the pink up there, that was the major scale, root. We had a second. I'm going to leave the third for a minute. We'll put the fourth in, the fifth. I'm going to put the sixth in. I'm going to put the seventh in. So what I do is I take the third, and if I lower it one, I get a flat third. And that flat third, remember what I was saying, guys? Minor. That's the thing that's defining the tonality, giving you your sense of minorness. If you want to compare the harmonic minor to the melodic minor, they're both the same apart from the sixth. So that's the easiest way to see the melodic minor. We'll get into some melodic minor theory stuff maybe later on, but I think that's really useful to see there. Let me just write out the chords. But the thing I want you to really take away from this is that the harmonic minor is where the true diminished is. It took me years to understand that the diminished, it's on here. This is it. This is it here. And notice, no half diminished. There's nothing like that going on. I'll write the tonality of these chords in the harmonic minor. Minor, major 7. That's what we get for chord 1. Chord 2, we get half diminished. It's not full diminished. On chord 3, it's going to be exactly the same. I've got my flat 3. But here's the thing. It's got a sharp 5. And if you take it up to the 7th, we get a major 7 as well. There's a lot of information in that. Let me just unpack that a bit more. It's telling you it's a major triad, but the plus is telling you it's augmented, right? So we take a major triad, we sharp the 5th, and we get an augmented triad. But relative to the root or the tonic, it's a flat third away. And if we want to extend it into its 7th voicing, then it's a major 7th sound. Hopefully you've got that. Now, we get 4, which is going to be minor 7. You start to see where these keys cross over into each other. Look at the flat 3 in the natural minor. Yeah, no augmented. You've got some augmented there. So the 5th, this is the one. This is where the chord 5 comes from. So this is what we do. We just borrow that up to that one there. We switcheroo that to that. We substitute the 5 chord from the harmonic minor into the natural minor. This is where all the glory is. Yngwie Malmsteen lives here, and Richie, but let's look at what we get here on the 6th chord. We get 6, which is a major, but it's got a major 7 on it as well. You can see we've got some interesting sounding chords here. Got some really nice sounding chords. But when we get into this melodic minor, I'm just going to write these down because this stuff's going to go in PDF Club. We still get this minor with the major 7 here. Then on 2, we get minor 7 on 2 there. Look at how that's just altered everything around just because of that 6th and just one note moving out of the way. Then we get 3 chord again. But remember, I'm marrying it to the scale degree again. This is another augmented with a major 7. So it's augmented with a major 7. Then chord 4. Here's what's interesting here with this, with the melodic minor. We get 2 dominant 7th sounding chords. We could think of this for really outsidey sounding music, but we get a 5-7 here. So just like that 5-7 comes from the harmonic minor there, we can also borrow it easily from the melodic minor. And we think of that as how the dominant works within the middle of a key in our cadences. Remember last week, guys, what was the most important cadence? The full close is the 5-1 cadence. So 5 to the 1. And it's like we need to be able to do things with the 5. And like I was saying last week, the 5 is the most adaptable. This is the one that we can do stuff to. Now, what we've got to do is we've got to put these in. What we end up with is a 6, wobbly bob, and we end up with a 7, wobbly bob. So we've got minor major 7. For chord 2, we've got a minor 7. For chord 3, we've got an augmented with a major 7. For chord 4, we've got a dominant 7th. For chord 5, we've got a dominant 7th. And then for chord 6, we've got a minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished. And for chord 7, we've got a minor 7 flat 5 or half diminished as well. But you'll notice, look at the absence of a true diminished chord in there, guys. There's no diminished in there. That's really critical that you get that in your noggin. Where's the diminished come from? The true diminished. Now, what that translates to is, we'll do this in C minor. So I can play this here. That's my 1 chord. But if I want my 2 chord, there's my 1 chord. Look at they're a step apart. Now my 5 chord, is this G7 here. So if we go 2, this is D minor 7 flat 5, goes down to a G7, and then what we do is we go over to a C minor 7 there, okay? Now that's cool as it is, but what I like to do is, on that 5, because I know this works, the 7 chord, if you remember, the 7 chord here, it's got that diminished thing going on it, and we can get something called a diminished dominant scale there. This is nice, a lot of tension on it, put a G7 on. But here's what I like to do with this. I like to take a note, I'm going to put this in here as well. And that means I get a sharp 5. And that comes from the harmonic minor. So I'm really digging into that harmonic minor, and this is called an altered dominant. If I take it up there, that's a 13. Can you hear how resolved that is? And then if I take it down here, I get a sharp 5. And it creates a lot of tension, and then when I go to the C, it resolves. So I'm at the 5th fret here. I'm holding down 5 on the A. Personally, what I do is I scout with these 2 fingers first. So if you imagine playing a D shape on the A, D and G strings at the 5th fret like that, and then put the pinky on the 6th fret of the B string. So you can see that it's kind of stacking. These are expensive chords. So that's the D minor 7 flat 5. And then when I go down to the G7, this is the 3rd fret, skipping the A string, and I'm getting the flat 7 on the D string there at the 3rd fret, and I'm putting the 3rd finger, my ring finger, on the 4th fret of the G string, put the pinky next to it. That's exactly the same feeling as it would do as playing a G chord. You might see that that's what that is. So look, this one here. So there's the G7. And then when it comes to the 1 chord, all I'm doing is dropping that same shape down a string set, but I take the pinky off. Okay? So we get that. In fact, here's something I prepared earlier. Now what we could do is we could put scales on top of these. Yes, so I'm just... Here's the C harmonic minor. Root, 2nd, flat 3rd, root. 4th, 5th, flat 6th, major 7. So I play the harmonic minor on the G7 chord, because that's where it's borrowed from. Yeah? Yeah, so we can hear, we get all that there. Listen, I've got other goodies as well. There's other things that can go in and amongst there. So it's just those 3 chords. 2. Right, so we can think to ourselves, where's the 2 from? Well, we can see it's a minor 7 flat 5, so it's really, we could think of it as being borrowed from the harmonic minor or the natural minor. The 5 definitely from the harmonic minor, and that 1 thinking about it as being from the natural minor. And then all I just do is put the scale on there.